What's going on YouTube? So for decades, the Corolla has been known for its compact size and extreme dependability. And now for 2022, Toyota is literally expanding the Corolla lineup with the addition of a brand new Corolla crossover called the Corolla Cross. It is offering many of the same features as its smaller siblings, providing safety and utility wrapped in a compact package. So has Toyota created the best affordable crossover in America? Let's go ahead and find out. So let's start out by taking a look here at the exterior of this new Corolla Cross, where Toyota did pretty much what you would expect. They took similar Corolla design elements, but they made things look a lot more tough and rugged because this is a crossover after all. So you notice up here in the front, this is going to be the most substantial difference from the sedan and hatchback model because you have a much more squared off look to this fascia. So you got this trapezoid shaped grille with this matte finish on the inside edges. If you choose the fully loaded XLE, that's going to get you chrome trim around the grille, but all the models will have this tough looking bumper trim area, and that goes all around the rest of the vehicle as well. Now, one of the premium features that I'm happy to see is the fact that Toyota's throwing in full LED headlights standard across the entire lineup, including this base L trim level. So that's your LED low and high beam right there in the projector. We do have the incandescent turn signal and daytime running light on this model, but if you choose the XLE, that's going to upgrade both of those to LEDs, and it's also going to throw in the LED fog lamps down here at the bottom. Next up, we'll go ahead and take a look at your wheel options. This is the base model, of course, so you do have the hubcaps on a 17-inch steel wheel. You do get a 17-inch alloy if you go for the mid-level LE, and the top-end XLE will throw in an 18-inch alloy with a nice contrast finish. As we go up here to your mirrors, they are going to be finished in black for the L model, body color for the other two trim levels. This model does also include heating. If you choose the LE and the XLE, that's going to get you a LED turn signal indicator as well as blind spot monitoring.
So here at the side, you might be curious as to actually how big this Corolla Cross is and how it fits into the Toyota lineup. We're looking at 175 inches in length, which places it around 5 inches shorter than a RAV4, but not too small overall. And we also have this nice body line that originates right here. This L model is going to miss out on the roof rails. And then coming around to the rear design of the Corolla Cross, as you can see, it's not too flashy, but it does have just a clean, simple design. We have our Toyota emblem here in the middle. And then if we come over to our taillights, you will see that we're going to have a LED arrangement. So your brake light as well as your turn signal on the base models will be right here. And it is LED. You will have an incandescent reverse light. However, if you go for the higher end models, you can have the full LED taillight unit. And then if we drop down to the bottom, we will have concealed exhaust outlets on all of the models. Now, one of the nicest areas about this Corolla Cross is you're going to have all of your major safety systems, standard equipment, even on this base L model. So that's going to be forward emergency braking, lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, and auto high beams. And if you go for the XLE trim, that will also throw in rear auto braking. Well guys, as you can see, this Corolla Cross is a pretty awesome vehicle on the outside. Now let's go ahead and check out the inside. But before we do all of that, please hit that subscribe button down below. Also, follow us on our other social medias like TikTok and Instagram.
So the L version of the Corolla Cross is the only model to not come with smart entry. This one will have the traditional key. Of course, you can just push the button to unlock. The others will have smart entry. And then taking a look inside of the cabin. This is the area where it's going to feel the most familiar to the traditional Corolla lineup because a lot of the elements inside of here are shared with the sedan and hatchback. Now, discussing your different interior material and color options, you do have several to choose from. The L and the LE are going to come standard with fabric seats in your choice of black or light gray. As you can see, we actually have a really nice looking stitching detail that runs through the middle there, and they are pretty soft to set in. And then if you choose the top end XLE, that's going to come with these soft text leatherette seats in your choice of black or a color contrast macadamia mocha color scheme. Taking a look next over here at our door trim, even the base L is going to have a padded leatherette door trim. Along the top, this is going to be hard touch, but we do still have the stitching detail. And then all 4 of the windows are one touch auto up and down. Checking out the seats here, these are going to be 6-way manual adjusting on the L and the LE, 10-way power adjusting on the top end, XLE. And like I was saying, we do have a nice cloth seat, and with a nice stitching detail, it is comfortable to set in. So like I said, a lot of the elements of this cabin are shared with the Corolla, and on this L model, material quality is pretty good still. So across the upper dash, this is all going to be hard touch plastic, as you'd expect for this price point, but it does have a nice graining. Down below, we have a piano black accent, some silver accents through there. This middle section is actually going to be a padded material with the stitching detail all through there. And as we move down lower, again, you're going to have a mixture of hard touch plastic, piano black, and silver accents, but everything in here does fit together really well and feel very solid. As you can see, we do have the traditional key slot for this L trim. The other models will come with push button start. And as you can see, if you've been in any recent Corolla, you'll recognize this gauge cluster arrangement. This is the standard version where most of the elements are analog, and then you got the 4.2-inch multifunction display over here on the side. If you choose the XLE, that's going to upgrade you to the 7-inch display, which sits in the middle. And taking a look at the steering wheel, as you can see, this is going to be the urethane steering wheel. All the other models are going to come with the leather wrap steering wheel. This is the newest Corolla design. It is going to be manual tilt and telescoping. Heating's not available on any of the models, however. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at interior storage, because it has been enhanced a bit from the regular Corolla sedan, as you would expect. So underneath our cloth covered center console here, we've got a decent amount of space. It's a little tight, but there is a felt lining down here at the bottom. We also have a 12-volt outlet and a USB port. Here's our kind of thin stack of coupons. Now, I don't think that's going to fit like this, but we could probably turn it a different way. Well, I don't know. Let's see. There it goes. It does lock into place, but just barely. We have 2 cup holders right there, and then up here in the front, we have a pretty nicely sized storage area. It goes back quite a ways, a nice rubber lining. This would also be a wireless phone charging pad on the LE and the XLE trim levels. And pulling back here to the shifter, we do have the leather covered boot. Pull back for drive, of course. Bump over here to the left if you want to take manual control. And then heading into reverse, here is our standard backup camera system. We do not have active trajectory, but you do have the standard fixed guidelines right through there. And if you go for the XLE, that's going to get you parking sensors. And then you may have heard that little noise. That was the sound of the electronic parking brake automatically deploying, which is a nice standard feature. You do have brake hold as well right next to it. Now let's move on up to our climate controls. There's actually 3 different climate control setups for the 3 different trims. Base model, we have the manual setup here with just the traditional control of hot and cold. Single zone automatic with the LE, dual zone automatic with the XLE. And then the XLE is also going to throw in heated front seats. Okay, let's sample the audio system. So as you expect, this model has the standard 6-speaker sound system. There is an available 9-speaker JBL sound system as well. Okay, so overall sound quality, this is pretty good. Fills up the cabin pretty nicely. Definitely sounds better than the last Corolla sedan I was in. It just sounds like it has a little bit more power to the system. Okay, so here is our Toyota Entune system. So this is the base L trim level, and it has a 7-inch display. You can get an 8-inch display on the higher end models, but what's important is that even if you have this base model, you still have more or less the same features. So this is the newest version of the Entune system. You do have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities for both screen sizes, so that's a very important thing. And then you got the little shortcut buttons down there along the side. So overall, very easy to use and exactly the same as what you see in a wide variety of Toyota models. Coming up, we do have the manual dimming mirror. And obviously on this base model, we're not going to find a moonroof, but you can get one as an available option on XLE and LE.
Well guys, look at the rear seat of this Corolla Cross. As you can tell, this is quite a bit of space. Actually, I'm very impressed. I sat back here just for the first time a few minutes ago, and I'm very, very impressed by just the overall feel of space back here. We have 39 inches of headroom, and you can feel that. I mean, look at how much space I have between my head and the ceiling. It just feels like an open and airy environment back here, which is certainly something that the previous Toyota CHR could not say. As far as the legroom, we have 32 inches of legroom, but behind your seating position I would say probably 2 to 3 inches of extra space, and my feet can slide up underneath the seat, so I'm certainly not uncomfortable back here. And then you do also have the 3 seats. Now, as far as the features, you wouldn't really expect to have any, especially on a L Corolla Cross, but they are throwing in vents here in the center, which is a super nice touch. That's something you don't even get on a Camry L, so that's really nice that they throw in the vents. And we also have a cup holder here in the door trim. I do want to point out though that we're not going to have this center fold down armrest. Now, coming up to the tailgate, it is going to be manually opening as you would expect. And as far as the space itself is concerned, we have 25 cubic feet of space behind the second row seats. Unfortunately, Toyota has not provided us a figure with the seats folded. However, just based on my estimations, I would say it's well into the 50 cubic feet, maybe 60 cubic foot range. It feels certainly very spacious back here. It's not as big as a RAV4 as you would expect, but there's a lot of space. So if you're looking to buy, something, if you're cross-shopping this between a Corolla, well, absolutely going to be a lot more space back here. And it is slightly larger than its main competition, like the Subaru Crosstrek. Now, the finishings. We have a cargo cover up top. The seats do fold 60-40 split. We have lighting here on the left side. And then if we lift up the cargo floor, there is a spare tire. Your passenger seat will be manually adjusting. You would expect no less. And then if we pop open the glove box, this is a really good size glove box for a small compact vehicle like this. I'm very impressed by the size of this. It fits our coupons in there, no problems. You could certainly stack pretty high. So this is an economical vehicle, and you can also save money on your food as well. So certainly a good investment. And then if we open up the sun visor here, we are going to have a mirror. We don't have a light on this model. That might be available on the higher end Corolla Cross models, but we don't have it on this one, and the sun visor does not have an extension or extend.
Alright, and that's getting up to 60 miles per hour in this Corolla Cross, going a bit downhill. So what this has on board is basically a very similar powertrain or identical powertrain to the Corolla sedan and hatchback. So we have a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, 169 horsepower, 150 pound-feet of torque. Those are competitive numbers with most things in this segment. I mean, this is not a fast segment in general.
No.
So if you want, more power or whatever, definitely look at getting a RAV4, for instance. But this is perfectly adequate for this type of vehicle. I don't feel that this seems a lot heavier than the sedan version. So, I really don't think you're going to notice if you're used to driving something relatively low power. Now I want to go ahead and talk about the transmission situation, because this is one of the interesting things that it has in common with the Corolla, and that's the fact that even though this is a continuously variable transmission, as you could probably tell, just like with certain versions of the sedan and the hatchback, this has the physical first launch gear. So the first gear is actually real. So in essence, you have first gear and then you shift into the continuously variable transmission. And the rest of them have pretty good simulated gear changes, which you could tell. I think all this together really works remarkably well. That helps you launch off a little bit faster, feel more smooth, and then you got those simulated gear changes, which are pretty authentic feeling, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think the average consumer, of course, is not going to trick anyone that's a car enthusiast, but the average, person that buys one of these, I think they're really not going to know much of a difference between this and a traditional transmission.
And of course, what's really important about the Corolla Cross is the fact that you can get all-wheel drive. So this specific example we're driving today is the very base L with front-wheel drive, but you can get all-wheel drive on all the trim levels as well. So that's a really nice thing. That's something that the Toyota CHR has never offered. And that's obviously very important for someone looking for a crossover, because you want that extra ground clearance, you want that all-wheel drive for the extra versatility.
Yeah, absolutely. And as far as your fuel economy, I will mention that already. So the all-wheel drive is going to come in at 30 miles a gallon combined, which is very good fuel economy. Out of an SUV, this has a lot of space. And then front drive is going to be 32 miles a gallon combined, so there's a 2 mpg delta between front drive and all-wheel drive. So if you really don't need all-wheel drive, then maybe you should go for front drive. But, I do want to take a moment here to mention our ride quality and all of that. I'm sure you're very curious as to how this, rides. This is an entry-level vehicle, so, it's a lot of times they can cheap out on stuff and make it really harsh. I think the ride quality feels very good. We're about to go over a bridge. Yeah. No, it's actually really, really impressive ride quality. It soaks up the bumps well. The seats are very comfortable. I really love these base cloth seats. And then we will get a sound level reading. I can hear a little bit of wind noise, and I don't know if it's just because it's windy outside, but it overall seems very comfortable, which I'm impressed by.
We're going 55, so we can take a sound level reading right now.
It got all the way down to 55 decibels, so I think that's actually really a solid reading for our sound level. I do hear a little bit of wind. I think wind is the only thing that I can notice. The road noise is very controlled. I hear a little bit of wind. I think it's just because this is maybe taller than a Corolla, so they have a little bit more wind noise going on.
Yeah, to me, there's really no substantial difference between this and the RAV4, for example, as far as, both the road noise and engine noise.
All right, and let's go ahead and do our slam dunk and airball for the Corolla Cross. Our slam dunk today is really just going to be the price and the versatility that you're going to get with that price. Especially as expensive as SUVs are nowadays, it's really refreshing to see something like this, especially in this L trim level of just like base model, $24,000 price tag. I guess I spoiled this pricing, but $24,000 price tag, you're getting a ton of space, and that's really hard to come by nowadays.
And then on the airball side of things, there's not a lot of obvious things that stand out, but one thing for us is, where's the hybrid model? Toyota offers hybrids on pretty much everything that they offer, including the Corolla sedan. So where is the hybrid for this crossover? That would really bring the fuel economy up a lot, especially considering how good a fuel economy the RAV4 hybrid gets. This seems like this could get close to 50 miles per gallon, which would be really awesome.
Maybe in the future.
Yeah, hopefully that's something they're going to add.
Let's discuss the pricing. So that is, of course, since that was our slam dunk, it's going to be pretty strong. It's starting at $22,195 for the L model, and then if you go for the fully loaded XLE, that's going to be $26,325. We only have a few accessories, plus the 1215 destination brings this one to $24,137, and we have front drive.
But overall, having spent a pretty decent amount of time with this Corolla Cross, I think it does exactly what the name suggests that it does. It takes the Corolla, all the things that have always been strong about the Corolla, things that we like about the Corolla, and then packages it inside of this crossover body, which adds those additional strengths, like all the versatility you have, all the cargo capacity, the ground clearance, the availability of all-wheel drive. I feel like this is going to be a really popular option because this is going to introduce to a lot of people who would just traditionally get the Corolla or look for something else. This is going to bring them into the Corolla family, I feel like. So if you're looking for a small crossover, this is definitely something to check out.
Well guys, that wraps up our in-depth review of the all-new 2022 Toyota Corolla Cross in its base L configuration. If you found this video helpful or enjoyed it, please hit that subscribe button down below. Also, just if you like cars, you certainly won't regret subscribing, so please go ahead and do that. Also follow us on our other social medias like TikTok and Instagram. They have shorter form content on it, so if you don't have a full 30 minutes to devote to watching our videos, you can find stuff on there as well. Anyway, we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.